Let me take you to my kitchen table. I am sitting there with my son on my lap. He is 6 months old, and I have just been laid off. And I am sitting there thinking, so what now? What do I do? Because here's what nobody tells you when you do everything right. I had been working for other people since I was 17 years old. 17. I did everything that they said. I would leave my house at 7 in the morning so I could start work at 9. 1 hour commute there, 1 hour commute back. And some days I did not even get to leave at 5 o'clock. Then I had to hurry to pick up my son from his grandmother, half an hour out of my way, and then get him home so that I can run my errands. Do you know how much of my day actually belonged to me? 2 hours, maybe three. If I had a doctor's appointment, I had to take a day off. If my son had a doctor's appointment, I had to take a day off. My entire life, my entire calendar, it revolved around one job. And that job, it was somebody else's dream. Then one layoff, one, and all of it was gone. So sitting at the kitchen table holding my baby, I understood something that changed the direction of my life. I did not have a money problem that day. I had a one income problem. And everything I had was standing on one leg. And when they kicked the leg, everything went down with it. So if you are a woman starting over at 50 years old, after the divorce, after the layoff, after years of being everybody else's safety net, I need you to hear what I am about to say. Because today I'm going to make the case that starting a YouTube channel might be one of the smartest financial moves that you can make right now. And it's not for fame, not for followers, for the plan. Now, before you tell me you are not a YouTuber, stay with me, okay? Because this is not about becoming an influencer. This is about arithmetic. Let me show you my receipts from corporate America. I am a competitive person, so my understanding of work was very simple. If I do it and I do it fast and I do it efficient, if I do a good job, I will be rewarded with a promotion or a raise. So that is what they tell you. And here is what actually happened. The harder and faster I worked, the more my job description grew. And the job description grew, and the salary never moved with it. So do you know the biggest raise I ever received in all my years in corporate America? $1.50 an hour. $1.50. And I watched coworkers doing the same job that I was doing take home more money than me. And every time I get close to a goal, the title, the level, the number, the goalpost moved. So you almost make it and the goalpost moves again. So for years, I thought that was a me problem. I thought I just had to work harder, be faster, do more. But you cannot outwork a structure. And here is the structure. If you have only one way to pay your bills, you are not standing on a foundation. You are standing on a tightrope. And no amount of hard work is going to make that tightrope wider. And that is why every single plan that I teach on this channel, the debt payoff, the sinking fund, the budget that does not feel like poverty, every one of those gets easier with the same thing, a second stream of income, even a small one. Because a second stream is not just money. It is wiggle room. It is room to breathe. It is the difference between a paycheck being a choice and a paycheck being a cage. And if that sentence, it hit you somewhere, this channel is built for you. Subscribe, because everything I make is for the woman rebuilding on purpose. So the real question now is not whether you need another stream of income. The real question is which one you can actually build at this age, in this season, with the life you already have. And that is where YouTube surprised me. Now I know what you are thinking. Webley, I am not technical. I am too old for YouTube. YouTube is for the kids doing those dance on TikTok. And then, let me tell you what I started with. On January 1st of this year, I dusted off a YouTube account that I had abandoned since 2015. And I set up my Samsung Ultra 24 phone, not a camera, a phone. And then I got an inexpensive tripod on Amazon and I plugged a little microphone to it. and I press record. My first video is still up, by the way. It is called Who Silenced Her? So go look at it because I am not hiding it, because that video is the proof that you do not start good. You just start. And my whole goal doing that was 1%. I said, if I can improve by 1% every single time that I press record, and I do this for a whole year, let me see what happens. What is the worst that could happen? I have been through a lot in my life, so some strangers laughing at me on YouTube, definitely not the worst thing that could happen to me. Definitely not. And let me be honest with you, because I'm always going to be honest with you. YouTube is not my first attempt at building something of my own. Since that kitchen table, I have been building online for years. I have pivoted more times than I can count. And that is the nature of making your own lane. But YouTube is the first lane where the asset is not a certificate, not a software, not a design skill. The asset is me showing up as myself, my experience, my mistakes, my lessons. And that 6-month-old on my lap at the kitchen table, he is 18 years old now. And I'm still here, still building. So that is not a sad story. That is a woman who decided that she would never stand on one leg again. So here's my case. 3 reasons a YouTube channel belongs on the short list for a woman rebuilding her finances. And I am giving you the third one last because it is the one that nobody talks about. Reason number 1, YouTube shows you what your knowledge is actually worth. Let me tell you about my in-cabin air filter in my car. I have a 10-year-old car that is all paid for. And the dealership told me that it will cost $120 to change my in-cabin air filter. $120. So I got curious. I checked my car manual and I went to an auto parts store and I told them my car model, and the air filter cost me $4.50. $4.50. So now I really needed to know what is so complicated about changing a $4.50 part that they wanted $120 to do it. So I sat in my car, I pulled up YouTube, and I typed on my phone, and I typed in my car model, and sure enough, somebody had made a video about it. And I followed it step by step. I opened the glove compartment and there was a little latch on the side. I clicked it open, pulled out the old air filter, and the new one even had an arrow on it that said this side goes up. I put it in, closed the latch, done. Less than 5 minutes, and I did not unscrew a single thing. Now, I am not saying that the dealership should not charge. You are paying for convenience, and convenience is expensive. Convenience is very expensive. But from that moment on, everything became, let me look it up on YouTube. I want to make my own sourdough bread, YouTube. I want to cook this for Thanksgiving, YouTube. Think about what actually happened there. Somebody's ordinary knowledge, it saved me over $100 in 5 minutes. Not a professor, not a celebrity, a regular person who knew one thing about one car and showed it. So let me turn around and ask you, what is your air filter? What is the thing people already come to you for? Why is your special chocolate chip cookie recipe the one that everybody at work keeps complimenting you about? Why are you not showing people how you make it and letting YouTube pay you for it? And here's the part that I have to confess. When I restarted this channel, I did not plan for money to become my topic. For years, in a lot of the online circles I belong to, I never fully resonated with the other women because our lives were just so different. Everything about my situation was different. So one day I decided to have one honest yap about how a woman my age in my situation actually navigates money. And that video blew up. So it taught me something that no business plan could have. People want community right now more than almost anything. There are women suffering in silence, embarrassed, sitting on money problems that have simple solutions, solutions that would get them unstuck, change how they see their whole life, and let them start dreaming again. I did not discover that by planning. I discovered it by talking. And that is the first reason. You do not figure out your topic and then start. You start, and your audience shows you your topic. And if you are worried that the space is crowded, somebody already talks about money and cooking and gardening. So go stand in a bread aisle at the grocery store. Every brand on that shelf is competing, and not one of them is out of business. There is room for your voice. There has always been room. All right, reason number 2, one video is not one thing. One video is a portfolio. We just spent all this time talking about the danger of one income, one job, one paycheck, one point of failure. So pay attention to this, because it is the exact opposite. YouTube is a machine where one single video can earn in several ways at the same time. So let me be transparent about where I am, because I only speak on what I have actually done. This channel is monetized. So I earn advertising revenue every single day, including days that I post nothing. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me. Every new video that I post makes my older videos busier. So it is like compound interest. The library works while I sleep. Videos I posted months ago are still collecting views and still earning today. But ad money is only the first income stream, and honestly, it is the smallest door. Look at what else one video can carry. Affiliate links, the tools that you already use and already pay for. You recommend them. And if somebody buys through your link, you earn a commission. It costs your viewer nothing. And my rule, and I suggest you steal it, only ever recommend what you personally use, because your audience trust is the whole business. Digital products, I build a budget template because my viewers kept asking for one. A template, a tracker, a checklist, a recipe collection. You make it once and it can serve people for years. And then you also can offer services where you show what you know week after week, and people start asking, can you help me do this? A workshop, a class, one-on-one help. You do not chase that work. The videos bring it to your door. And every one of those streams of income, they start small. I will not stand here and tell you otherwise. Anyone who promised you fast money on YouTube is selling you something. But remember, the tightrope, the point was never one big stream. The point is more than one, because the woman with a paycheck plus a little ad revenue plus a template that sells while she sleeps, that woman has wiggle room. That is the money that goes straight at the debt. That is the money that fills the sinking fund. That is the comeback getting funded. Reason number 3, the one that nobody talks about, YouTube shows you that you were never unqualified. Let me tell you who raised me. My father owned his own business. My father did not even have an elementary education. My mother is the one who finished high school, who went to a business school, who went to culinary school and became a chef. And in the evening, I would watch my mother teach my father English. She taught him so many things. And that man with no diploma on any wall, he ran his own business and became a real estate investor and paid for the education that I have. So I am the daughter of 2 business owners, and I spent decades working on somebody else's tightrope. In the back of my mind, that is something that always stung. And here is why I'm telling you this, because you are sitting on an inventory you have never counted. You survived on one income. You raised children. You were everybody else's safety net. You rebuilt after the divorce or the layoff or both. And somewhere along the way, you were trained to write all of that down as a gap in your resume. It is not a gap. It is a library. Give me 5 facts about your life and I will show you 50 videos. You fed a family on one paycheck. That is a meal planning content, grocery content, stretch the budget content. You negotiated a medical bill down. Somebody is terrified of that phone call right now and needs to watch you explain it. You moved to a new city alone at 52. You restarted your credit from nothing. You learned to do your own taxes, your own repairs, your own retirement paperwork. Every one of those is a video, and behind every one of those videos is a woman sitting in the dark searching for exactly that, hoping somebody like her has already figured it out. And you cannot journal your way into knowing which of those topics is the one. You cannot plan your way there. I could not either. Remember, my topic found me. You press record before you feel ready because there is nothing wrong with you. You just have not hit record yet. So let me go over all three of them again fast for you. Number one, YouTube shows you what your knowledge is worth. So you start talking, and then the audience will tell you what your life has been teaching you. Number two, one video is a portfolio, ads, affiliate, products, services, all from the same effort compounding like interest. And number three, you already own the inventory, the years that you survived. They are not a gap in your resume, they are the library. And I already know what some of you are thinking because I love it too. What about Instagram? Post there all you want, but understand the difference. A post on most platforms lives for a day or a couple of seconds and then disappears. A YouTube video is searchable. Somebody can find your video 2 years from now, the same way that I found that air filter video. Your work stacks, it compounds. So that is the difference between renting your effort and owning it. Let me take you back to the kitchen table one more time. A woman, a 6-month-old baby, one lost income, and the question, so what now? Nobody handed her an answer. She built one. 18 years of pivot later, she is here talking to you on a channel that started with a phone and a cheap tripod and a question for a title. Who silenced her? The goal was never fame. The goal was wiggle room, room to breathe. One more door so that a paycheck is a choice and not a cage. Nobody is coming to hand you a microphone, but girl, you are holding one. So if you are starting over at 50 years old and the money part, it feels heavy, I made you something free. It is called the budget that does not feel like poverty. The simple money map that I teach on this channel in a template you can use tonight. Because the first step is to know where your money is going. The link is right below in the description. Then do one thing for me in the comments, because I read every single one of your comments. Tell me your chocolate chip cookie, the one thing from your life that you would talk about first. I want to see how big this library really is. And if the camera scares you, you should know that there are whole channels where nobody ever shows their face. The door is wider than you think. We can talk about that in future video if you want it. So tell me in the comments. And for those of you who are new here, I'm Webley. I talk about money, dignity, and starting over on purpose at 50 years old. If that is your season, subscribe because we are rebuilding together. And if you need a sign to press record, this is your sign. And I will see you in the next one.